Very abbreviated. It sounded very
Good evening. The regular meeting of the South San Antonio Independent School District Board of Trustees will come to order. Today is October 16, 2019, and the time is 6 p.m. Roll call, please, Michelle.
Mr. Kevin Roscoe.
Present.
Mr. Homer Flores.
Here.
Ms. Charlie Ibarra Peña. Present. Mrs. Connie Prado.
Present.
Mr. Gilbert Rodriguez.
Present.
Mrs. Stacy Alderete. Present.
Thank you, Michelle. At this time, could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, the Texas Pledge, the prayer, and our call to action.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please bow your head in prayer. Lord, as we gather today at this meeting, we ask that you will be in our midst. Help us to make decisions that will be pleasing to you. God, let this meeting be productive, and as should be the case in all areas of our lives, help us to keep you at the forefront of our minds as we do the work set before us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Call to action.
All students enjoy successful education experiences, empowering them to make decisions while enriching their lives in the future they create.
Thank you. Okay, the first item on the agenda is citizens to be heard. This item will be conducted by Mr. Rodriguez, our Vice President. Mr. Rodriguez.
Madam President, thank you. Good evening, everyone. As is the custom, the citizens to be heard will be 3 minutes. Once I hold this pink card up, you'll have 30 seconds to start wrapping up your comments. The first citizens to be heard is Mr. Tom Cummins.
Good evening, members of the board, Ms. Sandejo, members of the audience. My name is Tom Cummins, and I'm representing South San AFT. Each year, the Texas Education Agency scores our campuses based off of standardized scores. While AFT does not agree that the system of assigning letter grades to campuses measured with campus or defines a student, it's nevertheless the system we have to live with. However, if the state leaders believe that such a system is meaningful, then they too should strive to excel when it comes to letter grades. Recently, the Education Week released its 2019 Quality Counts rankings of states. Sad to state, Texas ranked 41st of 50 states in terms of the overall educational opportunities and performance measure. This is hardly what you would expect from Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, and the Education Commissioner Morad, following their criticisms of school districts with similar scores. In the 3 categories measured, Texas received a C- in K-12 achievement, a D+ in school finance, and a C in the chance for success category. What this truly reflects is the growing number of low-income students and high-need students, combined with the refusal of the state to meet their needs by appropriating enough money to get the job done. By their own definition, TEA, the governor and lieutenant governor are not getting the job done, all the while criticizing districts that struggle with the shortcomings of the state. Our students deserve better. Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes the citizens' speaking.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Next item on the agenda is a very important item. It's recognitions, and number 1 is recognition of campus principals for Texas Principals Month. Ms. Sendejo.
Thank you, Madam President, the members of the board. I am beaming to have our principals here, our family, just in conversation in the last couple of months, to be a part of dialogue, listening, observing, learning about our principals has been truly humbling and just really an awesome opportunity for us to learn and gain. As we know, it is a recognition of Principals Month, and we're so happy and proud to have each and every one of you here this evening and to share opportunities within our principals meetings, text messages, conversations. It has really truly been an absolute pleasure to have you here today is wonderful. I know Mrs. Lorraine de Leon and maybe even Ms. Orozco may have some great words and kind words to share, because they are also part of what happens every single day to ensure that when our students join us in our classrooms, walking down the hallways, they are safe, and we are providing the very best environment for them. So with that being said, I am truly honored to have our principals here this evening and for us to celebrate them. And at this time, I really just want to clap for now, and then of course we have some cake and all kinds of goodies there, but again, here today. Ms. De Leon? I might have stole your thunder there, Mrs. De Leon, but
And it comes from the heart. I have to say that we are just extremely proud and are very happy to recognize you today for your hard work in guiding not only our children, but also our teachers and our staff members to be the best we can be every day. So thank you. Ms. Orozco, would you join us, please? So we would like to present certificates. So with the Board of Trustees, can we ask you all to join us as we introduce each campus principal? And as you come down, I'm going to read the proclamations. The month of October has been designated Principals Month in Texas. So I have the governor's proclamation. So it says here, the state of Texas, Governor, to all to whom these presents shall come, greetings, know ye that this is official recognition is presented in observance of Principals Month, October 2019. The governor states, the most important part of ensuring that young Texans can fulfill the potential of their bright futures is providing our children with a rigorous and well-rounded education. Principals are a vital part of our children's educations as they set the academic tone for their schools by working collaboratively with teachers to build high academic standards, set performance goals, and utilize best practices for achieving those goals. At this time, I encourage Texans to learn more about the contributions of elementary, middle, and high school principals and the roles they play in ensuring every child has access to a high-quality education in a safe, supportive environment. So on behalf of the governor and on behalf of South Bend, thank you very much for your service. First, we would like to recognize the principal of Armstrong Elementary, Mr. Philip de la Peña. Has served South San for 4 years and is serving in his first year as principal of Armstrong Elementary. Next, we would like to introduce principal of Athens Elementary, Mr. Joseph Carranza. Mr. Carranza has served South San for 17 years and 6 years in the capacity of a campus principal at the, and I have to say, at the elementary and middle school levels. Next, we do have a conference, a very important conference in the state of Texas called TABE. It's the Texas Association for Bilingual Education, and so we have Ms. Evelia Montemayor, principal of Benavides, who's in attendance. But we would still like to recognize Ms. Evelia Montemayor, as she has served 13 years in the district and 2 years in the And we are ecstatic to have Ms. Sandra Sandoval back in South San, serving as principal at our So Ms. Sandra Sandoval has spent 24 years guiding our children in South San and 8 years as principal. And Ms. Sandoval's former assistant principal is Mr. Gregory Martinez, who's now been serving South San for 19 years and 6 years as principal at Five Palms Elementary. When Mr. Martinez took over Five Palms, they had their challenges and they have been just skyrocketing ever since he took leadership at the helm. Thank you. Next, we have Elizabeth Martinez, principal at Hutchins Elementary School. Elementary campus that she attended. So, yes, so Ms. Martinez has served the district 8 years, 6 years as campus principal. Next, at Kindred Elementary, we have first-year principal, Mr. Eric Boyson. And although he's new in this capacity, he is not new to South San. He has served South San diligently for 18 years. Next, if we can get a thunderous applause for Joanne Buchanan at Madeline Elementary. Miss Joanne Buchanan has served South San for 25 years. She's been a principal 33 years and has served education 39 years. Wow. Next, we have, also not in attendance tonight, is also the principal of Palo Alto Elementary School, Ms. Judy Benavides, has served South San 5 years and 5 years as a campus principal. Also away at the TABE conference is Ms. Florinda Castillo. And by the way, Ms. Florinda Castillo and Mr. Martinez were also Joanne Buchanan's teachers. And so she's created 2 principals there. So Ms. Florinda Castillo has been in the district 22 years and served 7 years as campus principal at Price Elementary. And this year we got to steal a principal from Uvalde ISD, so we were thrilled. And so that is Ms. Elizabeth Sandoval, and she is first year principal at Also first year in the role as principal is Ms. Ana Lopez, principal at Hazen Middle School. Previously, Ms. Lopez served South End for 9 years. Next is Dr. Zavala, principal at Shepherd Middle School, who has served the district 7 years and is a first-year principal. Next, at Zamora Middle School, we have a veteran of 15 years to South End, and in his first year's principal is Mr. Dan Malden. And at the high school level, we are privileged because we have 2 campus principals. We have Dr. Lee Hernandez, executive principal, who has served South End for 5 years and 5 years of capacity principal. And also is his right hand associate principal, Ms. Jessica Husband. And we also want to recognize Mr. Gary Long, who is in his first year as principal of our DAP, and he was not able to make it tonight.
Thank you, Ms. De Leon. That concludes our recognitions portion. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's remarks. Ms. Andrea.
Yes, Madam President. We are wrapping up our 9th week and a busy week as we are in the process of conducting our 9 weeks assessments at all our campuses. So we know that that takes a little time. We have been also ensuring that we're leading the professional development, especially against Skyward. As you know, it's our new data system. And we're hoping that Eduphoria and all those components come together so we can have some valuable data to bring back. Alongside that, we do have a video for you. You might have seen it, but we really wanted to share. There's some great initiatives that are taking place, and this is highlighting our libraries. Mr. Cloud leads that, and I've had the opportunity to meet our librarians in their professional development. And this is part of Makerspace. And this takes place in our libraries throughout our campuses. And just a nugget of happiness to see this video and highlight the great things that are taking place. So Mr. Cloud, I know I don't believe he's here, but thank you for all you do there with our librarians and the support, because they are really doing some great learning opportunities, providing some great learning opportunities for our students every single day. So please enjoy. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Sendejo, that was a great video. Thank you. Okay, next is the business portion of our meeting. Before I go into that, I'm going to read our board meeting rules of decorum. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience or individual board members. If after at least one warning from the presiding officer, any person continues to disrupt the meeting by his or her words or actions, the presiding officer may request assistance from law enforcement officials to have the person removed from the meeting. Applause, outbursts, or demonstrations by any spectator will not be permitted during the course of the meeting. Everyone will please take a seat. There will be no standing. Signs are not allowed during the proceedings. At no time during a board meeting, whether a regular or special call meeting, and whether in open or closed session, shall a board member use his or her cell phone or engage in texting. The use of phones or texting demonstrates a lack of respect for the proceeding and may, under certain circumstances, even be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. Board members will refrain from private discussions during any board meeting, whether in open or closed session. In the event of an emergency, board members will excuse themselves from the meeting to address the emergency. Thank you. Next item on the agenda are consent items, board members, and we have consent items 1 through 21. So at this time, board members, are there any items that need to be pulled for discussion? Okay, since there are no items for discussion, do I hear a motion for consent items 1 through 21? Motion to approve. I have a motion by Ms. Alderete. Do I hear a second? Second by Ms. Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, the next items are discussion and possible actions. Number 1 is discussion and possible action to approve an order authorizing the issuance of South San Antonio Independent School District Unlimited Tax Refunding Bonds Series 2019A. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. What you will see is actually 3 agenda items, and we do welcome RBC Capital. Mr. Richard Acosta is here alongside his partner and Mr. Doucette. We have been working very closely with RBC Capital in this particular process, and we're hoping for a positive outcome. At this time, Mr. Doucette, Mr. Acosta, welcome.
Good evening, proud members of the board. Just for the record, my name is Richard Acosta. I'm the district financial advisor with RBC Capital Markets. And we've been working collectively as finance team with our general counsel, Kevin O'Hanlon, with our bond counsel, Dan Martinez with Winstead, and with our group to try to access the market because the interest rates have dropped so dramatically in the last year. Since November of 2018, we've seen 40 weeks of inflow of money coming into the municipal markets. And so as a result, you have a lot of demand for tax exempt and taxable products. Interest rates are all-time low around the global economy. And so you see like investors from Japan, Germany, and others that have negative interest rates, and they're all trying to put their money in safe, high-quality credits. And your credit is very high quality. It's an A+ rated, great. And so you have a lot of investors that are flooding into the municipal markets. So as a result, there's not a lot of supply, and rates have dropped dramatically. So we started analyzing the portfolio at the early part of the summer, and started realizing that there was some opportunities to save some significant dollars. So right now we have 3 different series of bonds, a series of bonds that we're looking to refund. And collectively, when you add all 3 of them, today's current market rates, or random rates today, you can save roughly about $3.8 million in savings, which helps out quite a bit, because that it sets you up for future bonding capacity. It sets you up to pay off your debt quicker, and it also allows you that if you never do want to
call one election, you can reduce the tax rate. So all in all, it's a good time into the market. We just did a transaction for several school districts here. We did one for Fort Worth IC, we did one for Calvert Hill IC, we did one for Harlandale. We're seeing quite a few municipalities around the state come to the market to refinance their debt given how their rates are. So with that being said, we've got 3 different parameters that we're asking to get approved. With that, what we do is we put all the guidelines in front of you, and you kind of give us the marching orders that based upon if we meet those parameters, go ahead and lock in those savings. And so right now, we're kind of coming to you for those 3.
Thank you, Mr. Acosta. Board members, are there any questions from Mr. Acosta on item number 1?
Well, I just had one question.
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez.
Mr. Acosta, if I may, the $3.8 million in savings that you're saying we could potentially have, is that, I know we're on item 1, but is that total, or is it just for this first
Yes.
item?
I'll break it out. I have the same presentation I put together for you. I definitely passed it out, but it's pretty much the same thing. But under the A's, which is this the A's? Okay. Under the A's, under this item right here, you can save roughly about $1 million, or about 8.2% net present value savings. For B's, you can save roughly $2.3 million, or about 8% present value savings. And under the C's, you can save roughly $271,000, or about 4% present value savings. So collectively, when you add them all up, they save about 3.76, 3.8, depends on the ways, but right in that area. $8 billion.
Thank you. Sure.
Absolutely.
That was the only question I had.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Anyone have any more questions? No? Okay. Yes.
Good evening, Ms. Carlo, Madam President, for the record, Dan Martinez, Winston, D.C. I have the privilege of serving as your bond counsel. I did want to make one note. I did want to make one change to the document in front of you today to this first series that we're talking about, the series 2019A. Richard and his group have identified some additional maturities that potentially could be refunded. So we actually would increase the amount that you have in your order on page 2. We are reflecting a higher amount to possibly be refunded to the tune of about $12,140,000 instead of that $8,990 that you're probably seeing in front of you. So I want to put that in the record so that we can proceed in that manner. Just as Richard mentioned, the 3 different items we have before you, we call them parameter orders. And what that does is it gives us the ability to go into the market when we can achieve those particular parameters that he's presented prior to last meeting. So we can't pull the trigger, if you will, until we hit those marks. And so with his team, they monitor the market, and we authorize certain folks through these documents to initiate and finalize all the terms. And so in that authorization includes the president and Ms. Sendejo as superintendent, and your Richard Cusick as well. And so those folks will execute and deliver on the bonds. And Richard, I don't know if we've talked about timing, but that's kind of all dependent on the monitoring of the market. So that's the process, but I just want to make sure we have that on the record to proceed.
Thank you, sir. Okay, therefore, I'm going to ask for a motion in a second, but I need clarification from the legal attorney. Mr. Helen, is there a specific wording that has to go into this motion?
No, you have to approve the resolutions as presented by your consultants and your bond counsel.
Okay. Okay, so therefore then, do I hear a motion to approve the action item number 1?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Rodriguez. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Alderete. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Correct, I'm sorry, it was Ms. Peña that seconded the motion. Okay, going on to item number 2, and I think Mr. Acosta, this item is yours as well. Item number 2 is also a bond. It's discussion and possible action to approve an order authorizing the issuance of South San Antonio Independent School District unlimited tax refunding bonds for Series 2019B.
The same presentation, Madam President, for B and C.
Okay, so we've already heard the presentations for all 3 bond series, so therefore do I hear a motion for item number 2?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Roscoe. to approve item number 2. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. Any questions? No? If there are none, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, the next one is number 3, which is also a bond, and that would be discussion and possible action to approve an order authorizing the issuance of South San Antonio Independent School District Unlimited Tax Refunding Bonds, Series 2019C. Presentation has already been made, so therefore, is there a motion for item number 3?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Rodriguez. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Peña. Is there any further discussion? If there is none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Acosta.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Acosta.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to approve the contract with Auto Graphic and Signs Company, or CO, LLC, for the South San Antonio ISD CARE Zone. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Yes, we are excited. We really wanted to bring this particular agenda item to highlight, as we know that our CARE Zone and the ribbon cutting will take place next month, and we are in the process of planning and beautifying it and putting it in place for our families and our students to welcome them. So we're looking forward to what that celebration is going to be like. And we do have this particular signage and graphic that we wanted to share just a little bit of background about for you this evening. Mrs. De Leon, do you have anything else to share on that one?
So we are collecting, Ms. Acevedo's leading students, so we have been working with students, art teachers, to get some artwork because this particular vendor can replicate the images for the signage. And what this will be similar to what's happened at the middle schools with regard to Gear Up. Have you seen the wrapping of the windows and the front doors at all 4 middle schools? I mean, Ms. Bills and her staff did a fabulous job with securing the vendor, so we are doing the same thing. We like to share some, we worked with a vendor out of Massachusetts through the Community Partnership Grant, and so you'll be seeing these images as part of the CARE zones. And so we have a CARE zone at Athens Elementary, which will be the big annex, as well as we will have a CARE zone at Armstrong Elementary that will house a food pantry and a clothing closet, as well as Palo Alto Elementary. And so we chose 3 sites so they could serve those cluster communities. So these are some of the images, and again, we are also taking quotes from students. And so Ms. Acevedo's working closely, we'll be working closely with the vendor so we can create these very special images that will be displayed across the district.
Thank you, Ms. De Leon. Board members, have any questions for staff? Mr. Leon or Ms. Sendejo on this item?
I have a question, Madam President.
Yes, Ms. Alvarez.
Once we choose what's going to go out, how long does it take in return to get it back and get it up?
So we are working on a tech schedule, so this will be the main project of the vendor, because we want to be done a week prior to the ribbon cutting ceremony. So we are actually very excited. I can also share that Lowe's is working in collaboration with us and another organization called SA Threads. So today, the CEO of SA Threads went to visit the annex with Mr. Manuel Maldonado, our Gear Up mentor coordinator, and she's looking at bringing the racks, the round racks for the clothing closets. So we have a lot, and so likely November 2nd, Ms. Acevedo, also on that Saturday morning, we're going to be working, getting some donations from Lowe's for foliage, some plants, and some stuff. We have some ideas for xeriscaping, so we're going to be mini architects, I guess. We're going to be working on the curb appeal around the Athens Annex. So you'll see some action on Saturday morning, November 2nd. So if y'all would like to join us, we're going to be there at 9 o'clock, and we're going to be, how they say in Spanish, rakes and rogando, and so we'll be gardeners that morning. So we are very excited about the work that's going to happen. is happening there.
I'd just like to thank everybody that's working on this. I've benefited from, my children actually, not myself, but from Ms. Arceniega's work and this, the programs that are coming in are amazing. And I wasn't on the board when they jumped on this, when they came with mental health. But to see this board move as quickly as they did and to see this come to fruition is really amazing. And I can't tell you how much her help and what she's done has been amazing. So I can only imagine what's going to happen when all of these entities come together. Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Chavez, for that. And I do want to share that last month, for one of our Monday meetings, our central office administration had the opportunity to visit the Burlington Center at Edgewood Independent School District. If you're not familiar with that, and have an opportunity to visit, phenomenal what they're doing with special education needs and support to their older students, 18 to 24. And it just allowed for us to be inspired, to have an opportunity to reflect with all the good things that are taking place for students. And we did. We snapped pictures and we read their quotes, and it was just really neat to see these spaces that are being created for that particular reason that you just mentioned, Mrs. Alderete, for our students and our families and what's to come. And it was really great to have that invitation to be extended to us. It said, I know just the group that needs to go out there, and we all went out there to visit. And it was really humbling and just a great opportunity to come together and reflect.
See, the ideas when I did the walk, wow.
Yes,
I'm excited.
Wait and see, Mrs. Alderete. I know it was a plain canvas there, but we're working on it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
If I may, Madam President, I just want to echo what Ms. Alderete was saying is when our kids and our staff, our counselors, the community came to us and identified this was an area that we had to address immediately. So I'm excited that this board made it a priority immediately and quickly. And I'm proud that the staff, everyone that's involved that has got us to this point, as I understand, I actually, it's been featured in the media. This state-of-the-art, first of its kind type of services that a bunch of organizations are coming together to provide. So I'm excited about it. I'm thankful. It's truly heartwarming that when we all can come together in a positive way, just the things that we can accomplish. So thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Flores.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, thank you. I just wanted to say something from my heart, and that is that I'm grateful that at the time that seemed scary back in April or so when all this was going down, that we stood strong to say, hey, let's ensure that this gets done and that the community gets the necessary things to be outfitted, if it's food or clothing or of course mental health services. It's really awesome to see this come together, and thus I will echo the we are family, because I think the district is now embracing that with these services, and I'm again grateful for staff, for Ms. I apologize if I always mess it up with Arceniega's leadership in this. I said it right? Okay. For your leadership in this, because there was a time where you did inspire us with everything you said for that hour and a half that day. So it penetrated in words, and we stood by you, and I will say that on record that whenever you need anything else, you can count on myself to support that, and I'm sure that the rest of the board will not deny you that. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Anyone else would like to have any comments or anything else to say? Okay. All right. Well, I just want to make a comment. I want to thank Mr. Leon, Ms. Orozco, and of course Ms. Arciniega, but all the staff members, because it took also the maintenance and the custodial people to get all those buildings ready for us. And I'm excited to see this just around the corner. And it's all about partnerships. And so I thank that the staff had the vision to partner with these organizations and this Sendejo as well, coming in with these ideas of the wraparound services. It started with a previous superintendent, but the actual work started in the past 6 months. And it started because the kids came to us and their voices were heard, and that was important. We felt, as Mr. Flores said, Mr. Rodriguez, it was something that had not been addressed and we needed to act quickly. And this board acted quickly. So, but you do it, it's all a team effort. We work as a team of 8, and you can get things done. So I thank the staff members for doing that, from Ms. Sendejo, and our custodial staff, our maintenance staff, for getting that building ready. I want to thank them as well.
Sendejo, may I have one more thing? We have been working from the onset, ma'am, with the design team. And so there are folks from the bilingual department, from the Bureau of Department Strategic and Planning. The principals have been working alongside of us. So it's been many, many people that have come together. And so it truly has been a collaborative effort. And so I want to acknowledge the work of our staff.
Thank you, Ms. Danielle. Okay, all right, well, we're moving on. Do I hear a motion for item number 4?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Rodriguez. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Second by Ms. Alderete. Any more discussion on this item? No, if there's none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 5. Approve the recommended staff for employment. Ms. Sendejo.
Yes, Madam President. And this evening, we do have some employment recommendations. You received an attachment with those particular names, positions, the campuses, and if there were actual new positions as well for you today to hire and approve at this time. We do have several staff members recommended for Kazan, Palo Alto Elementary, Athens, our business office, one accountant, Hutchins Elementary, kindergarten teacher, Dwight Middle School, and South San High School, along with a counselor, an assistant principal, a junior ROTC instructor, our early college director, and Zamora Middle School 6th, 8th grade science position. I do have Ms. Seaman here if there's anything else that I might have missed or any questions that we can answer for you this evening.
Are there any questions for Ms. Sendejo on these positions?
I have one.
Yes, Ms. Alderete.
On Mr. Portillo, the counselor,
Yes, ma'am.
is that for the high school, because it's not specific, in what kind of counseling? Is this going to be like the ones that's in the schedules, or is this like a counselor like Ms. Arsenio?
I believe it's an academic counselor. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Sendejo,
Ma'am.
is this your recommendation as superintendent?
Yes, ma'am. This is my recommendation that we do employ. I know that our principals are looking forward to filling some of these positions, and I said in due time. So, yes, we come before you today.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sendejo. Board members, do I hear a motion for item number 5?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Alderete. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That concludes our business at this time. The action items, we will now go into closed session. The board will now convene into closed session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, 551.082, and 551.0821. Item number 1 is discussion concerning personnel matters pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074. And number 2 is discussion and review of applications for the school board vacancy in single member district number 1 pursuant to District Government Code Section 551.074. And the time is 6:42.
I know we have some cake as well, so we'll get some out there for you all in closed session and have everyone here celebrate with us. And we welcome you for some very, very tasty birthday cake. This will be my second one. Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
The board will now reconvene into open session. The time is 8:29. Okay, the first item on the closed session is we're going into the discussion and possible action items now. Number one is discussion and possible action on the review of application and the interview and possible appointment of board member for single-member District 1. Board members, do I hear a motion for item number one?
Madam President, I motion to table this item.
I have a motion by Ms. Alvarez to table this item. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Flores. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Okay, item number two is no longer, we don't need to act on that at this time. That also will be tabled for another meeting. And now moving on to reports and presentations. The first report we have is the quarterly investment report. Ms. Sendejo, please.
Good evening again. Madam President, yes, we have shared the quarterly investment report through June 2019 through August 2019. What you received is the report that shares the active deposits and withdrawals that have been made overall for the 3 months from June 1st through August 31st. In the interest of page one, we were able to incur about $340,000 of earned interest for the quarter. And you also observed there that we have the withdrawals. What you also will be receiving is, or continue to receive, is the quarterly report that shares the details. So it does share for you the transaction descriptions, the fund, the account type, and of course the amount. That's really all I have at this point on the investment report for us tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Sendejo. Board members, are there any questions on our presentation? No, there's none. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sendejo, for the report. Thank you, Mr. Doucette. Okay, moving on to the next item. Item number two.
Just making sure that's
Monthly financial statements for the month ending September 2019. Ms. Sendejo.
And so Mrs. Valerie's going to stay up there, and I know Ms. Bonita the videos here as well, so thank you for doing that. Board members, what you have also received is this, the September 2019 monthly budget report. It does itemize just about all funding that has been originated on the budget and then the actual, and then of course the difference. I'm hoping that you don't get too excited because we do have the actual of $7.6 million for this month, and if you shift on down to the actual expenses expended is at 6.4, so it does show a positive of 1.1 million at the time. So we anticipate coming back to you with the potential budget in the future months. If you shift on over to the expended side, what you see there are just the alignments and percentages there for you of what has been expended. What you did not receive, and we can definitely, moving forward, just have, if you have any specific questions, because just really focuses into those percentages where you see they're a bit offset, where we've expended a little more, which is pretty norm because we have made some purchases to ensure that the libraries are in place. When you look at function 12, looking at function 61, community services, we have been doing quite a bit of support in the community services, our PR plans as well. So please know this is a document that allows for you to know more or less where we are within our budget. So we hope that this is of benefit on a monthly basis. The second page is the food service fund, very similar process there. Not too much activity there has taken place. Overall, what you see is we're about at 19% expended as well. We have not received all of this potential funding just yet, so you may see the red there, but that will shift here soon. Page 3 shares for us the debt service fund. As you all know, in August we did make our bond payments, and we're anticipating the next payment being in February. So you will note there that there have been some fees, of course the taxes and EDA, IFA, facility allotment, and our numbers there. Nothing particular there, just you will see some additional activity coming this February as well. I don't know, Mr. Nino, anything there? Any questions there, Mrs. Bello, or to the board members?
Questions for Ms. Sandejo for staff? I don't have any questions, but...
If I may, Madam President, first of all, I want to say thank you for providing us this information. I think having this type of visibility is necessary for us to be able to uphold our financial responsibility as Board of Trustees for the district. I also want to say that this type of reporting would have been helpful in January, February, leading through all the undertakings that we had when we were reopening our campuses. Having this type of visibility, this reporting, would have been extremely helpful in that entire process. So I just want to make sure that I point that out because it speaks to your efforts and your staff's efforts to provide the Board of Trustees with relevant information so we can make better decisions and have an understanding overall where we stand financially as a district. So thank you very much, and thank you to your staff for assisting in that.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I do want to share that in conversations and as we come together as a team to have discussions, we put our hats on, and when in looking at the reports, it's what is it that we can provide, what is it that we can do to share that information to you, and of course make those alignments. So we have had some opportunity to cluster, working with our Skyward database also has been an opportunity to grow and learn, but we want to continue. If there's anything else that we can do to assist that, this by far is one of my favorite reports because it gives you the alignment of percentages of where we are, and then it also poses questions. And so that's what we want to be able to do, is to be able to answer those as well when you see an offset of this number being a little higher than where it's supposed to be. There's always a reason behind that, and we'd like to share that anytime that we can and clarify any questions moving forward. The anticipation is that every month you see something very similar to this, in hopes that I can also become an expert nowhere near where Mr. Doucet and Mrs. Clarita Trevino are, but we appreciate everyone's efforts as we continue moving from month to month.
Thank you, Ms. Sandejo. Any other comments or remarks? I was going to also echo what Mr. Rodriguez said. I've been on the board a long time, and many years, and this is actually the first time that we're going to be getting financial statements for us to review as an oversight, to do our due diligence. So I'm pleased with the progress that we're making, and it's going to make our job easier to oversee the finances of this district. So I thank Ms. Sandejo for all of her work and for staff as well. Thank you. Okay, moving on, item number 3 is report on South San Antonio ISD choice programs. Ms. Sandejo.
Yes, ma'am. As we all know, that we have had the opportunity to begin the process for Kaizen Middle School and the Academy of Choice there. Really excited to share some of that data and the surveys of our parents and students, and looking forward to next steps and timelines. So at this time, I do know we have Mrs. Cindy Bills here with our presentation. She has a little more specificity, and we are open to answer any questions from you all.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam President, board members, and Ms. Sendejo. The purpose of this presentation, as Ms. Sendejo, was to share our results from talking to our community, our parents and students. And first I want to remind you of our timeline, and I believe you were presented with this in the spring, of the timeline and the things we've done in September and October. So in September, after Kaizen got started, we formed a design team at Kaizen Middle School, that included staff and Ms. Lopez, and we made visits to our academies at Dwight and Zamora and Shepherd, and so they were able to see what we had done with those academies so far. We surveyed parents in 3rd through 5th grades through open houses and parent nights, and we also offered the survey online. It was sent out to all 3rd through 5th grade parents through the email system. Then the design team has met 2 other times, and we met this past Monday. And of course, we're here this evening sharing our results with you. And I believe you all had received a copy of the survey a while back before we sent the survey out. So these were the choices that the community had. It was agriculture and horticulture, architecture and construction, audio video production, a business academy, cybersecurity, law academy, leadership, and a 2-way dual language. So these following slides share the results from the families in the 3rd through 5th grade. So they had the opportunity to select their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd choices. So you'll notice this slide that shows what the 1st choice was, and it was very close between the architecture and construction and the audio video production. And this was the 2nd choice, and it was still close between those 2. And the 3rd choice was a little more spread out there. We also surveyed the students at Kaizen, and we had 94 students who responded, and you'll notice this slide is updated from what you had. I had the presentation that was sent to you earlier in the week, had the preliminary data from the students, so this was updated this afternoon. So you'll see the choices are still those 2 choices from the student body. So the committee has come up with this recommendation, and we took the top two, the audio video and the architecture and construction, and we blended those into an architecture, construction, and design academy. So students will be creative and learn to design and build using state-of-the-art technology while enjoying architecture, construction, and design programs. Architecture, construction, and design are becoming more specialized to meet the needs of industry, including new design and building methods. Students will learn general design concepts as well as valuable skills integrating tools and materials through hands-on projects. So these are possible electives that we will offer at Kaizen. Graphic design, interior design, basic carpentry, woodwork art, circuits, and then of course our 8th graders would have the opportunity to go ahead and take some of those high school credits, which are principles of architecture, principles of construction, principles of arts, AV, technology, and communications. In this particular design for Kaizen would align to programs of study that we currently have at South San High School, which are architectural design, construction technology, electrical technology, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, graphic design and media arts, and animation. And stay on. Ms. Lopez?
And so we searched all over for hats and we found these four. So please, this is announcing.
From Dr.
So these are our extra.
Yeah, speak that right
So as we move forward, our timeline for November is that we will have Choice Academy nights at each elementary, as we have in the past for recruiting fifth grade students. And we will schedule this year, the current coordinators talked about having open houses at their academies. So each academy will have an open house, including Cases. We'll have an open house there, and we'll have some help from our CTE department to demonstrate to parents and students what that academy will look like. And so those dates are still pending for a couple of those open houses. We're still scheduling those. And then as well as we will meet with all of the fifth grade students during the month of November to make sure that every student, if they couldn't come in the evening, that we do hit them during the day as well. And then our fifth grade students will be going to the high school on November 19th and 20th to explore all of the endorsements at the high school on those students. And in the month of December, we are opening our application window a little bit earlier this year than we did in the last 2 years. And of course, as in the past, we will have the assistants available at each campus in the afternoon pickup time for parents who need assistance with the online application. And then we are closing applications December 13th for the big group. And then we will have letters of acceptance to students before they go to holiday break. And any questions?
Any questions for the staff?
Madam President, I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Alvarez.
So when we do the enrollment for these programs, is there a cap? Do we go up to so many so that it's distributed evenly? Or are we just whoever wants to go goes and it leaves whatever campus open and we're kind of losing, you know what I mean? The enrollment doesn't even out.
It's pretty much been balancing out. We don't limit the students because we want the students to be able to have that choice in what endorsement they would like to follow through middle school and what area they would like to study. We currently haven't had a problem with overcrowding at any of the academies. We are currently able to sustain what we have. So.
Okay, thank you. If I may add, Mrs. Alderete, another conversation that is currently taking place is the alignment with the secondary, with the high school. And the other is registration, to be aware and be mindful of how soon we can ensure that our families are making the choice for the 2020-2021 school year. That is a common practice with surrounding districts. Very early on, by December, our families should be having some conversations, and we ensured that the deadlines with the high school align with the middle school as well, because that is truly very important. The other conversation and plan of action that's taking place as well is the master scheduling. As you may or may not know, this year we had a block schedule for the ELR at the middle schools, which caused a few hiccups, but we figured out the best possible way to ensure that all the core content and the flow is there. But we are going to vet the block schedule alongside the 50-minute and ensure that the best practices of both are in place to ensure that we are consistent in making the alignment. As you know, at the secondary level, we do have the block schedule as well. So again, many of the conversations that are really happening now about, surprisingly, 2020, 2020, 2021, that's important. It's amazing how we have to ensure that we're being strategic, thinking with the end in mind, and really sharing what that 7-year plan for our students to prepare them for whatever pathway that may be. And hopefully that gives you a bit of insight there as well. Yes, so my second question to that, and thank you for that information. So my second question to that is, of course, we're advertising to our children, we're getting it out early to our families, but we are an open district. So what are we doing to hit outside that range? What are we doing? What are we doing with the new neighborhoods? Are we in there? Are we knocking on doors? What's going on there?
We'll be working with Ms. Collier on getting the information out.
Okay, because we have, it's funny, our streets, like, there's 5 houses that belong to us, and then 8 belong to Southwest. It's ridiculous. Knowing that we're walking distance, do they know what we offer? And the amazing teams that we have here, so.
And
Thank
that
you.
is certainly the intent, Mrs. Soledad, it is part of our PR plan and process, is coming back to Sherry, some of that as well. And that's why we all are taking that consideration about starting our saving our seats for the next year much earlier than what we have been in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, board members?
No, but I'd just like to say real quick that I really appreciate the intentionality in these choices for students, and I see two things present in here that has me really excited. And one is that this is going to channel kids into very highly marketable job skills, either college-bound and students who choose to go straight into career, that this opens up opportunities for students on both of those tracks. And so I see it, the construction trades and the graphic design and the architecture and how they're blended together. So thank you for putting together a plan that will give students options later on down the road.
Thank you. Any other comments?
No questions.
Okay, first Mr. Flores, then Ms. Peña, and then Mr. Rodriguez.
Oh, thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say that thank you for giving the school, thank you to the students for giving the school an identity. That it's just not Hazen Middle School, but now it's going to be the Architects, Construction, and Design Academy. So there's now an identity and what it's going to be and what, wearing the hats to what we're going to see in here. So I'm excited. So, according to Mr. Roscoe, that was great what you said. And so, Ms. Alderete. So I'm excited because that's the only school in the district that I'm at. So I'm really excited. But thank you for your hard work. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Ms. Peña?
I want to thank you for the presentation, and glad that we have a academy for Kaizen. I just wanted to know, this is new for me, when the acceptance letters, is it determined what is a student, has to meet a certain criteria, or just any child can?
So the students and parents do have to fill out an application, and they rank their choices of the academies, and we have given everyone their first choice. The parents and the students have a commitment form that they have to fill out, and the students have to write an essay. So there is an application process because we want to see that they are committed to the program, and because there are certain things that those students have to do throughout the school year in the summer to be a part of the program.
Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am. Just thank you very much for all the efforts in reaching out to the community, reaching out to the kids, and getting them, like Mr. Flores said, we have an identity. I think a few months ago it was like, what are we doing? What are we going to be? But to actually have that is exciting, not only for us up here, but I'm certain for the kids in the community in Mr. Flores' district. My question was already asked and answered with Ms. Alderete asking is, because I asked this earlier in the year, is how are we going to market outside of our boundaries to attract, and then also, I guess we're on the same wavelength because we both represent the District 6 and 7 up here. With all, I mean, it's, I don't know if you guys take the time to drive, but it's exploding, it's bursting at the seams, and I'm being patient, and I have faith in Ms. Sendejo on how West Campus is all going to fit into this in some way, shape, or form. I know we've already had a few conversations regarding that, so I'm hopeful there, but I'm excited about another choice that our students are going to have. So thank you very much for your hard work, and I look forward to all of us having one of those caps up there and going over there whenever those first classes take place. So that will be exciting. I'm sure you guys are too. So thank you very much for your hard work. And thank you, Ms. Sendejo.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Anyone else? Ms. Alderete?
One more question. You said that the criteria was that they had to fill out, apply for it, and then write a essay. My question is, how are we handling special needs with that? So what if we have special needs who want to do these programs? How are we going to deal with that?
They're all able to do that.
So they're going to get their first choice as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. I'm excited about that. Thank you.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions. She'll probably be the last one. I'm excited. I think we finally have an academy. So now we can officially report we're going to have 4 academies, not just 3. My question is, the other academies, when they were formed, they actually started with a traditional campus, and then they made the academies within the school. So is that going to be the same concept with Kaizen, where those kids that maybe had not chosen construction and design academy, that just want strictly academics, they will be able to stay at Kaizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me how many fifth graders will it affect in that zip code area that will be housing Kaizen, that will be having to go to Kaizen as their home campus?
I do not have those numbers with me.
More or less?
From the zone, are you?
From that attendance zone
The
at
attendance
Kaizen,
zone?
do we have any idea of how many fifth graders maybe? No?
Or
Okay.
Let's computate.
An approximate is good, need exact numbers.
Start open.
Just to get an idea. Because the feeder schools to Kaizen would be which campuses?
The Kaizen is all of them. And
Would be about 200.
so I have 51 at Kingsbridge. 51 and then 80.
So 139?
Yes.
139.
Okay. Of the fifth graders. I'm excited. I think that's, it will start to grow even more once they actually get into the academy aspect. And even those kids that are going to be there for academics, they may see, all the movement and what's going on, and they may decide.
That's what's happening in our
somewhat.
other academies as well.
Right, exactly. So I'm excited, and I thank the staff for finally, we have some definitive actions and decisions that were made, and now we can really get the ball rolling, and I thank you all so much for that. Thank you. Okay. All right, that concludes our choice programs, and now the number 4 is the last one before we go back into closed session. Number 4 is the report on Board of Trustees continuing education credits for 2019. This is a report that has to be made every year by the board president regarding continuing education hours for the board members. And I have to read an announcement that is required by Texas Education Code. And it says, the United States under State Board of Education rule, completing required continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I am required to announce the name of each member who, as of that member's anniversary of election or appointment to the board, 1, has completed the required continuing education, 2, has exceeded the required continuing education, and 3, is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. There are 4 tiers or categories board members must meet in continuing education. Tier 1 is local district orientation, basic legal orientation, and legal update training. Tier 2 is team building training with all board members and the superintendent. Tier 3 is the annual continuing education, and Tier 4 is evaluating and improving student outcomes. To the extent applicable to board members under the legal requirements for the 4 tiers, I will announce the completion or deficiency as to the required training. For members who still have time remaining to complete required training, I will announce those board members who have scheduled timely training and those who have not yet scheduled the training. At the conclusion of this announcement, I will announce any board members training in excess of their continuing education requirements. Starting with trustee Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez has satisfied his requirements of tiers 1, 2, 3, and 4 and has exceeded his required hours. Mr. Homer Flores also has satisfied his requirement in tiers 1, 2, 3, and 4 and has also exceeded his required hours. Ms. Shirley Peña has also satisfied her requirement and has exceeded her required hours. Ms. Prado has also satisfied her required hours and has exceeded the required hours. Mr. Rasco and Ms. Alderete are new members of the board and will start their new year this coming November. Former board members, Mr. Ibarra satisfied Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4, but did not satisfy Tier 1. Ms. Elda Flores, also a former board member, satisfied Tier 2, 3, and 4, but did not satisfy Tier 1, but did exceed the required hours. And Ms. Mandy Martinez, also a former board member, she did satisfy her required hours and she did exceed her required hours. So that concludes my report on the continued education hours for board members. The information will be sent over to TASB, or I think it's TASB will be sent it to for reporting. So that concludes the business at hand. We do have one more item, and that's the closed session item. So at this time, the board will go into closed session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, 551.082, and 551.0821. Discussion concerning personnel matters pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074. And number 2 is discussion regarding the superintendent's compensation. The time is now 8:59. 8:59. board will now reconvene into open session, and the time is 9:09 p.m. Item on the agenda is a discussion and possible action regarding the superintendent's compensation. Board members, is there a motion regarding this item?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion. I would like to move that we adjust the superintendent stipend from $100 a day to $4,500 a month, effective tomorrow, October 17th, to be prorated for the rest of October.
I have a motion by Mr. Rodriguez. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I have a second.
I second.
By Ms. Alderete. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Motion
To adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned at 9:10.